Imagine stepping into a workshop where the air is thick with anticipation, and the workbench is lined with a parade of wood joints, each one crafted with precision and ready for battle. Clamps are cranking down, squeezing the life out of these wooden warriors as we prepare to put them through the ultimate test. Today, we're not just looking at how these joints fit together, but how they stand up to real-world pressure, literally. Watch as the tension builds, and in slow motion, wood fibers splinter and explode under crushing force. Some joints shatter spectacularly, sending fragments flying, while others hold on longer than you'd ever expect. It's a dramatic showdown where only the toughest survive. I put 10 different wood joints to the test, from the most basic to the most complex. Some joints surprised me with their unexpected strength, holding firm when I thought they'd fail. Others, well, let's just say they didn't last long under pressure. There were joints that snapped almost instantly, barely putting up a fight, while one joint in particular refused to give in, no matter how much force I applied. The difference between the weakest and the strongest was honestly shocking. This is more than just a test. It's the ultimate battle of woodworking joinery. We're about to find out, once and for all, which joint truly deserves the title of the strongest. Will it be the classic mortise and tenon, the elegant dovetail, or maybe an underdog you'd never expect? We'll start with the simplest butt joint, move through lap joints, mortise and tenon, and all the way to the legendary dovetail. Along the way, I'll share tips, tricks, and a few surprises that might just change the way you look at woodworking forever. So grab your safety goggles and get ready, because things are about to get loud, destructive, and incredibly satisfying. Let's dive into the chaos and see which wood joint reigns supreme. First up, let's talk about the butt joint, the most basic and straightforward way to join two pieces of wood together. It's the starting point for almost every beginner in woodworking, and it's as simple as it gets. All you do is take two boards and butt their ends together. There's no need for fancy tools, complicated measurements, or intricate cuts. It's just two flat surfaces meeting, usually at a right angle, and that's it. If you've ever made a simple picture frame in elementary school, or even just glued popsicle sticks together, you've already used a butt joint. It's the go-to method for quick projects, crafts, or when you're just starting out and learning the basics of how wood fits together. To assemble it, I applied wood glue to the ends of the boards, lined them up carefully, and then clamped them tightly to hold everything in place while the glue dried. This is the classic approach. No nails, no screws, just glue and pressure. But here's the catch. When I put the joint to the test, it failed almost instantly. The board split right at the glue line, showing just how little strength this joint really has when it comes to holding things together under stress. The problem is, there's barely any surface area for the glue to grip, and there's no mechanical strength built into the joint itself. It relies entirely on the adhesive, which just isn't enough for most real-world uses. That's why you almost never see butt joints in furniture or structures that need to last. Over time, with any kind of pressure or movement, the joint will almost always fail, leaving you with wobbly or broken pieces. Still, the butt joint is a great baseline for comparison. It sets the standard for simplicity, and every other joint we'll look at has to prove it can do better, whether that's by adding strength, durability, or just a bit more craftsmanship. Next up, pocket holes. Pocket hole joints have become a staple in the world of DIY furniture kits, and for good reason. If you've ever assembled a bookshelf or a table from a flat-pack kit, chances are you've seen these angled holes and special screws holding everything together. They're incredibly popular among hobbyists and professionals alike because they make joinery accessible, even for beginners. The process is simple. You use a pocket hole jig to drill a precise, angled hole into your workpiece. Then you drive a screw through that hole, pulling the two pieces of wood tightly together. In just a few minutes, you can create a solid connection without needing clamps or waiting for glue to dry. For extra strength, I like to add a bit of wood glue before driving in the screw. After that, I clamp the joint to ensure everything stays perfectly aligned while the glue sets. This combination of mechanical fastening and adhesive gives the joint a little more holding power. When I tested the joint's strength, it definitely outperformed a basic butt joint. However, once the glue line failed, the joint quickly gave way under stress. So, while pocket holes are stronger than some basic methods, they do have their limits, especially if you're building something that needs to last for generations. The real advantage of pocket holes is speed. You can assemble projects rapidly, making them perfect for quick builds or temporary furniture. But if you're aiming for heirloom quality, you might want to consider other joinery techniques that offer more long-term durability. Next up, let's take a closer look at the biscuit joint and see how it compares. Biscuit joint. Cut a slot, glue in a thin oval biscuit, clamp it up. It's meant for alignment, not strength. Under pressure, the biscuit popped right out. Great for lining up boards, but not for heavy loads. If you're building a tabletop, biscuits are awesome. But for raw strength, keep looking. Next up, dowel joints. Dowels. Wooden rods glued into matching holes. More glue surface, plus mechanical strength. Lining up the holes takes time, but it's worth it. The joint resisted much more pressure before cracking. Dowels distribute force well and don't fail easily. They're a solid hidden joint for stronger builds. More work, but a big upgrade. Time for the rabbet joint. Rabbet joint. Cut a notch so one board sits inside the other. More glue surface and a bit of mechanical strength. Held up decently, but split at the rabbet under pressure. Stronger than a butt joint, but not for heavy-duty builds. Let's move on to the lap joint. Lap joint. Remove half the thickness from each board, overlap, and glue. Way more surface area, and the pieces interlock. The joint resisted a lot of force before failing. Big step up in strength and simple to make. Great for frames and sturdy connections. Takes more pressure to break than previous joints. Next is the box joint. Box joint, interlocking fingers of wood glued together. Each finger adds strength and glue surface. The joint flexed but didn't break easily. It took a lot of force to fail, usually splintering the wood. Box joints are favorites for drawers and boxes. Up next, the bridal joint. Bridal joint, tenon on one piece, matching slot on the other. Tons of glue surface and mechanical strength. Glued and clamped, it took a beating before the wood, not the joint, broke. Perfect for frames and heavy-duty woodworking. More work, but the payoff is huge. Next up, mortise and tenon. Mortise and tenon, a classic for a reason. Cut a slot, mortise, and a tongue, tenon, glue, and clamp. This joint just refused to give under pressure. Failure usually happened in the wood, not the joint. Takes skill, but the strength is worth it. Heirloom quality furniture starts here. Now, the most famous joint, dovetail. Dovetail, legendary for a reason. Each tail locks into a pin so it can't pull apart. Signature of high-end drawers and fine woodworking. Glued and clamped, it just wouldn't give. When it broke, it was the wood fibers, not the joint. Tricky to cut, but the ultimate in strength and beauty. Let's wrap it up. If strength matters, joinery is everything. The difference between a butt joint and a dovetail is night and day. High-quality joints make your project last for generations. Which joint surprised you most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, keep building, keep experimenting, and I'll see you in the next video.